Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading Reddit with Amber. I'm Amber.
And I'm Brian, the non-Amber.
And here's some more Reddit.
Hey, you just stole the finger-pointing thing. I invented that. I
You
invented
did
the
not.
finger-pointing thing.
You did not invent it.
Yeah, I did. That's on my channel. I totally came up with that. I was like, this is the thing that's going to tell people I'm moving forward, and you stole that. Copyright, trademark, all rights registered.
I'm a thief. Oh no. What you gonna do?
I guess we're going to throw you in jail.
Oh yeah? I don't think that the police are gonna be very happy if you call them.
I'm calling them right now.
Yeah, good luck with that.
By the time they get here, hopefully our recording will be done, but they'll come and arrest you.
In the interim, we'll read some Reddit. Our first story today is, am I the jerk for not allowing my daughter to get a makeover at a birthday party? This happened last year. Because of actions my parents did when I was a kid, I do not allow my daughter, Maisie, who's a 5-year-old female, to play with makeup. When I was a kid, my parents messed up my self-confidence and self-worth by convincing me the only way I'd ever find love or success was if I was pretty. At 8, my mom started perming my hair. By 13, I was getting highlights. By 14, she was having my brows waxed. At 16, she convinced me I needed a nose job or the boys would never like me. Around 15, she was reminding me to wear lipstick and something pretty in case any boys saw me. For years, I defined my own worth based on whether or not I was pretty. It took years to repair that damage. I swore I'd never do that to my kids. Maisie's classmate Anna had her 5th birthday party, and Maisie was invited. The party was dance club themed, but there were also activity stations set up as well. Build your own cupcake, make your own crayons, make your own clay sculpture, finger painting, etc. And one of the stations was professional party makeup. Anna's parents had hired 3 professional stylists to give the girls fun makeovers and do things to their hair like temporary color dye and clip-in extensions for curls and such. My Maisie, while enjoying toys and clothes from both sections of the store, is mostly a girly girl and she's always been curious about makeup. She sees those kid-friendly sets at the store or is sometimes gifted them by relatives, and she wants to play with them, but I don't allow it. When Maisie is a teenager, she and I will discuss makeup and how to use it properly, and when I believe she's mature enough to wear it and not let beauty define her, I will let her wear it. And once she's 18, she can do whatever she wants. The stylist required parental consent before doing anything, so Maisie came and asked me if she could have her makeup done and her hair fixed. I said no and explained why. Maisie took it well, and in a moment her favorite song came on and her friends took her away to dance, and eventually the matter was forgotten. Maisie enjoyed the party and we went home happy. But through the other parents, word got around that I refused to let Maisie get her makeup done, and now the other parents are calling me some helicopter mom who is trying to control her kids. Apparently they think that it was a jerk move to make Maisie go without a makeover when most of the other girls, it was an all-girl party, had their makeup done. Now it's getting back to my husband, and he said that he agrees that Maisie doesn't need makeup every day, but surely I could have let her wear it at the party and wash it off when the party ended. We didn't fight, but he told me that if he'd been there, he'd have thought I was being controlling too. Was I a jerk for not letting Maisie get her makeup done? Edit. I've gotten really good answers here and also a good dose of humility and bluntness. I realize now that I'm unhealthily projecting my own trauma onto Maisie, and I have some work to do on myself. So I will be making a phone call to my therapist and getting back into that. And I've just placed an order on Amazon for a makeup set for little kids. When it gets here, Maisie and I, and Daddy, if he wants to join in, will spend an evening with the TV off, phones off, learning about makeup and how beauty can make us feel powerful and confident.
Well, I think that's a pretty good resolution. What do you think?
I agree completely. So I definitely think, I understand where the mom is coming from.
Yeah,
People can definitely be overboard with, the pressure to wear makeup.
Oh, yeah. And that can happen easily. You can overdo it easily enough.
So, but she has taken things kind of to the opposite extreme.
Yeah, and I think that's really where her big mistake here is that she kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak.
Because makeup can also be a fun way of self-expression.
Yeah.
And as someone who didn't really have... I had to learn how to do makeup in my 20s because for my mom, it wasn't a thing she did. And, she wasn't necessarily, she wasn't, outright refusing that we got it, and we would get makeup kits sometimes from relatives, but she also, made it out to be a bad thing. Like, basically anything that was overly girly was kind of demonized.
Yeah.
And so, which meant I got to be a 25-year-old lady who had no idea how to do makeup and had to start, from scratch.
Yeah.
Watching YouTube videos that 12-year-olds made showing me how to do eyeliner. So I think it's good to let your kids decide whether they want to use makeup or not, and to make sure to have healthy conversations with them around it, and to emphasize that this is about you and feeling good in the skin you're in, and not about pleasing anyone or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I really think that it's important to let the kid make the call, and...
yeah, well, I think there's a happy medium here.
Exactly.
And, on one hand, what OP was exposed to as a kid was clearly not healthy.
Yes, it was very wrong on her parents to do that.
We're going to start getting your eyebrows waxed at this age, and just make sure to look pretty for all the boys all the time. And
yeah, that's such an unhealthy attitude.
It's a very unhealthy expectation, and, it puts a lot of pressure on, being at your very best at all times, and, making yourself appealing to a certain group of people just so that you'll be prepared for, snagging a man or something like that.
Right. And it puts too much emphasis on looks when there's so much more to you than what you look like.
Yeah.
So I definitely think OP's parents were huge jerks. And I'm really glad that OP had the self-realization and is going to help her daughter, do a little bit of play makeup and show that makeup can be a fun thing. It doesn't have to be about making yourself look like a model or anything like that. It's just... a thing you can do to be fun and creative.
Yeah. All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Forcing My Fiance to Quit His Job That He Loves? My fiance and I are both 26 and we are expecting our first child in June. He works over an hour from where we live, makes around $800 to $900 a week, and works full time. However, I make around $1,800 to $1,900 a week working the same hours. We decided daycare wasn't an option due to the price, location, and not wanting to put a newborn into daycare. I'm planning on having the baby and going back to work. However, his family thinks it's unfair that I'm making him quit his job that he loves to babysit, while I go off and work instead of looking after our son. In their eyes, the mother should be looking after the baby. They think it's cruel and unnatural that he's going to be doing the caregiving and I'll never bond with my child if we stick to this plan. Such cruel, much unnatural. Wow. I know it's probably clear-cut, however, I'm starting to doubt our plans. Will going back to work make me a bad mum? And is it wrong that he's quitting his job? My fiance is in favor for staying home. It was his idea and he's super excited. His parents have brought up putting him in...
The child, they mean. Although it reads like, his parents have brought up putting hubby in daycare.
We're going to put your husband into daycare because clearly something's wrong with him if he wants to babysit your child. Then you'll have 2 children to take care of. His parents have brought up putting him in daycare near their place. If I'm so against looking after him. Extra bit of information. He wants to start his own business and is going to try to use his time working on it. His family is also against this. Why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
So, am I the jerk for not staying home and going back to work, letting my fiance quit his job to look after our son?
Not the jerk. And I think the key piece of information here is that the fiance is in favor and even proposed this idea.
Well, clearly she brainwashed him, Amber.
Clearly.
I mean, there's... folks, this is dangerous. This is very, very dangerous. A slippery slope. You have one guy looking after their child at home. Soon all the guys are going to start looking after the children at home. And before you know it, it's just going to be women in the workplace. And they'll have taken over. And... this is catastrophically bad because all of those children out there, they're not going to bond with their moms. And then
clearly you can't bond with a mom unless she's home with you every minute of every day.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's so scary to think about. And so before you know it, all these kids are going to be sociopaths because they have never bonded with their mom, and the fabric of society is going to unwind. Everything is going to be on fire all the time, and you just can't have that happen here. There is a line to draw in the sand, and this is it. She must stay home.
Yeah, no. So I think this one is very clear cut. OP and her fiance are both in agreement that he's gonna stay home and raise the kid and try starting his own business. It sounds like they're all on board. So the only one who's being a jerk here are the in-laws for saying you need to follow traditional gender roles because of reasons.
Reasons? Why would they need reasons to do that?
Reasons, I said. I
know you said reasons, okay. But I'm making fun of reasons.
Okay. And it's good that it also financially makes sense for OP to stay home, but I think the key thing here, or for OP not to stay home, but I think the key thing here is their opinions more than the finances. They both are on board with this idea, and they're the only opinions who matter here. Mm-hmm. His parents can just mind their own business.
Yeah. None of their business. They shouldn't even be forcing this one way or another. They can make suggestions. They can say, hey, if you don't want to take care of the kids and you both want to work still, we would be happy to babysit during the daytime. And that would be a fine thing to do, too. But it doesn't even sound like they're doing that. They're like,
no, they're like, well, you can put him in a daycare near our house.
Yeah, near our place. It's like, well, that's about as useful as not being useful at all.
Yeah. What kind of tea do you have today?
Oh. Well, I have Forever Nuts.
No, you had caramel shortbread.
Oh, yeah, I have caramel shortbread.
This was a test. Brian failed.
So Amber's here, what kind of tea do you got, Brian? And I'm like, oh, I have Forever Nuts. She's like, really? I thought you picked out caramel shortbread. Are you drinking the caramel shortbread, Brian?
It's not even red. The Forever Nuts is red. But you got a cute little Nessie in there.
Yeah, I have a cute little Nessie in here. This is one of Amber's little Nessies.
Yes, it's the teal one.
It's a teal Nessie, and even it looks teal in our other screen there. So yeah.
I have 3 of them. Teal, purple, and yellow green.
Yeah. But yes, no, I am drinking caramel shortbread, and I just forgot what I was drinking for tea. Because apparently I'm losing my memory.
Our last story today is, am I the jerk for not wanting to quit my job and studying to look after my baby full time? Long story short, I've been with my partner for 5 years. This was an unplanned pregnancy, and I only found out I was pregnant a month ago. I'm now 7 months pregnant. I was on birth control and actually had 2 pregnancy tests come back negative. One was too early in the pregnancy, and the other was because of the hook effect. As an added bonus, my partner and I never expected to be able to have kids naturally, as he had cancer a couple of years ago, and during treatment he collected and stored sperm that he was told were very poor quality. Plus, I have a big family history of cervical cancer and was supposed to have surgery to remove 2 precancerous lesions a week ago, and prep for that surgery was how I found out I was pregnant. Now, obviously, it's way too late for an abortion, and my partner grew up in the foster and adoption system and got treated like garbage, so that's not an option either. We've agreed to raise the baby together, but over the last couple of days, he's repeatedly brought up how I should quit my job and study so I can focus on the baby when he arrives. In theory, this would be fine. My partner makes enough money to support us, and my part-time job pays absolute garbage, so I had initially agreed to drop my job but not my study. I'm in the middle of writing my master's thesis in bioscience, and if I put it down a couple of years, the likelihood is that my contacts would no longer be available for research work. Not to mention, I was planning on starting my PhD straight after I finish, as it will be a direct extension of my master's study, and I already have conditional funding for my research that I will lose if I put the project on hold. My study is really important to me, and I feel like by giving up my job, I'm losing a bit of my independence, so I don't want to lose this too. We've now had several huge fights because my partner says I'll be neglecting the baby in favor of my research, which I have no intention of doing. He's chalking up my resistance to baby hormones, and I want to check that I'm not the jerk here. So, no, OP is absolutely not the jerk here.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like, being in a master's program is really challenging on its own, and gaining funding is very difficult. Having an actual research project is very difficult. All of those things are really, really difficult things to obtain, and to just basically drop out of a master's program is going to, put an end to it, essentially.
Yeah, most people who drop out of a program never return.
Yeah.
And so this is really important to OP that she finishes it and goes on to get her PhD. And it's important to prioritize that.
Yeah.
It is going to be hard to do a master's and PhD with a kid, but people do it.
Yeah.
And you just have to find ways to balance.
Yeah, and I think the thing is balance is the most important, and the husband might have more work to do. Maybe he'll have to pull his weight a little bit more here with a baby.
I wanted to highlight exactly. Like, he says that she would be neglecting the baby if she doesn't do this, but why is he not neglecting the baby if he continues working?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
like,
the thing is that, your partner is supposed to be your partner, not someone who you get to order around and tell what to do. And this doesn't seem like a very healthy partnership in that respect.
No.
And I think he needs to realize that what he's saying and doing here is kind of hypocritical in a little bit.
And controlling.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he doesn't value OP's, like, what she wants to do with her life anymore.
Yeah.
He's all about, okay, you need to give up everything to focus on the baby.
Yeah, and well, he had a bad experience, and clearly that experience left an impression on him, and he doesn't want the kid to go into foster care or adoption because of his bad experiences. But that means that he needs to work twice as hard to make sure that that experience doesn't happen to his child.
Right.
Because you can not be in foster care and still have a garbage growing up situation because your parents don't care enough about you. And, this, whether he realizes it or not, basically is going to be the kind of same thing. Hopefully he's not going to, neglect or treat his child badly, but he needs to be there for his child and needs to support his wife so that they can both, raise a child successfully.
Right. He needs to be an involved parent, and the fact that he's working 40 hours a week or whatever does not mean that that's all the work he does in the week.
Yeah, exactly.
Having a kid is a huge responsibility, and OP is, making the choice to raise this child. It sounds like it wasn't even on the table to give it up for adoption because of his experiences. So she's already potentially made a concession to him.
Yeah.
He really needs to step up and do his part too.
And she's willing to, she's not just trying to throw, the baby into the adoption program.
Right.
She's willing to accommodate this, situation, even though it might not be the most favorable thing for her. But, she's willing to do this for her partner here. And it seems like he's just not willing to do anything for her, at least the way this is written.
Yeah. Well, and, also, all the care in the world to OP, this is just such a hard situation to realize, oh my gosh, I'm 6 months pregnant. I can't even imagine. It's like my nightmare. I can't even imagine being in that situation, because then you get 3 months to figure out to get ready for this. And
yeah, well, 3 months is just not enough time. And it's, that's the danger, I think, of birth control sometimes, is that a lot of birth controls will stop you from having periods or stop you from having regular periods. And so you might miss a period or two on birth control and not think anything of it. And in this case, she was clearly pregnant, or maybe she even still had periods and didn't know it. And this is just one of those things where you won't necessarily, it just seems like a really unfortunate situation for her. And
it is. And so, OP, I wish you the absolute best luck. As someone who has a PhD, well, two people who have PhDs, we say,
good luck in your pursuit of the higher education.
And stick with it. If this is what you love and you value, then make sure to make a place for it in your life. Yes, it's important to prioritize your child as well, but you can still study and be a good parent. You don't have to give up everything just to be a good parent. All right. That is I'm gonna start quoting you. I almost said that's all the time we
That's
have for
all
today.
the time we have for today, folks. If you like this video, consider giving me a thumbs up. If you dislike this video...
Well, I don't give them the option. I mean, they can dislike me, but I don't have that in my
No,
spiel.
I know. I'm just kidding.
All right, folks. That's our video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider giving me a like. Or letting me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
My fiance is in a flavor... Oh.